I call the member for Hotham.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I rise today in sadness and in anger to express my deep concerns about the ongoing human rights abuses that are occurring in Cambodia. And I do so because I hold this incredibly great privilege of representing so many thousands of Cambodian Australians in this parliament. Deputy Speaker, MPs will note this is not the first time that I've stood in the parliament and raised these issues. In September 2017, I addressed a public gathering of hundreds of Cambodian Australians at Springvale Town Hall. Last year, I, with other members of Parliament, addressed a similar public gathering here on the lawns of the Parliament House. I stood alongside the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mu Sohia, here at Parliament House as she expressed her deepest distress and sadness about what is a growing political crisis in Cambodia. And Deputy Speaker, the reason that I am again on my feet on this critically important issue for our region is because nothing is changing. In fact, Deputy Speaker, things are getting worse by the minute. Deputy Speaker, we know that Cambodia has a general election that is due on the 29th of June 2018. Deputy Speaker, we are not doing enough as a parliament. We are not doing enough as a country to make absolutely clear our view to the Cambodian government that there must be a guarantee of free and fair elections in Cambodia in June this year. Deputy Speaker, the current Cambodian Prime Minister, Hun Sen, stated late last year that the 2018 national election result does not require international recognition to be valid. This is the latest sign of his determination to continue to hold power after almost 33 years in office. Deputy Speaker, I spoke last year about what I regard as an absolute outrage against democracy when the opposition party in Cambodia was disbanded and the seats being held by those opposition party leaders were distributed amongst other parties. Deputy Speaker, over half of Cambodia's opposition MPs have fled the country. Deputy Speaker, Cambodia became a multi-party democracy in 1993. But we know that since that time there was a flourishing of democracy, and since then there are people who want to hold power in Cambodia who continue to try to suppress freedom of expression and political rights amongst the Cambodian people. Last year, the Cambodian opposition leader Kem Sokha was arrested on so-called treason charges. He's been charged with treason on the basis of a speech that he made in Melbourne in my electorate, Deputy Speaker, back in 2013. In July 2013, the last general election was held in Cambodia. There was a fear that those elections would not be held fairly, and that was founded reasonably, I think, on the unwillingness of the Cambodian government to implement the recommendations on corruption and electoral fraud that had been made by the United Nations in 2012, and the fact that Sam Rainsy, the opposition leader in Cambodia, was not given a free right to stand in that election. Deputy Speaker, what we saw in that instance was the election quickly turned to civil unrest. The worst example of that was a perfectly peaceful protest regarding an industrial relations issue in Cambodia, where union members were shot at and killed by police who were acting under the instruction of the Cambodian government. Deputy Speaker, after that, 20,000 people marched in protest against these actions, and they were met with some very heavy-handed treatment. Now, Deputy Speaker, we love democracy in this country, but we don't understand the fight that goes on in countries in our region to have the most basic rights, rights that we take completely for granted in this country. The Cambodian people have had to put up with more than any people should ever have to deal with around the world. Deputy Speaker, the Khmer Rouge ruled this country in the most violent and oppressive way for a long time. Australia was pivotal in trying to establish a free and fair democracy in this country. We did so much to try to assist this to happen, and one of my predecessors representing the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, Gareth Evans, when he was Foreign Minister, was critical in bringing about democratic rule in Cambodia. You know, people thought, Deputy Speaker, that the Cambodians wouldn't come out to vote because they would be so scared of what were very reasonable fears of violence. But, Deputy Speaker, people who were there on the day of the first free democratic election in Cambodia speak with such emotion about going to polling booths and seeing lines of hundreds of people who waited for hours at a time for the opportunity to have their say. Now, that was a country on the rise, Deputy Speaker. What we are demanding is that Cambodia go back to the path towards democracy, a full and fair democracy, and that is what I will continue to pressure the government to ask for and demand from the Cambodians. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.